Hey family, welcome to How Love Works, where we continue to talk about the principles for lasting love. Where we want to continue our review on Ready to Love, Season 2. And we're going to be talking about friends and family today. I noticed that now the couples are starting to get down to the last 5-on-5. It started with 10 beautiful women, 10 beautiful or handsome young men, and now we're down to the bottom 5. We're looking at Brent, Carrie, London, Mario, and Darren. On the women's side, we have 6 women. Looking at Ashima, Divine, Reva, Tandy, Kimber, and Alexis. Now, I know you guys recognize last week we lost one of the gentlemen. We lost Mr. Jimmy. I didn't expect Jimmy to hang out very long because Jimmy tends to be a little immature. I kind of expected that. I can say the same thing. I didn't expect to see. I know you guys know that Kimber is now gone. You know, Jimmy and Kimber were the last 2 holdouts. And so now it's going to be a little bit more tenuous with the remaining 5 because, as you know, Ashima, Divine, Reva, Tandy, and Alexis are the last 5 women. And so I'm not sure if I was to guess next week who most likely will be dismissed. It's either going to be, if I was going to guess, it would either be Darren or it might be Brent. One of those 2 guys are going to be will be gone next week. So let me get down with what I noticed when I was watching the situation with the friends. I noticed when I looked at Kimber and Brent. Brent, again, here's a guy, he's 40-something years of age, and her friend, Kimber's friend, she made a very good point. This is a point I always make. I don't know if ladies believe this or not, but when it comes to intimate, committed, long-term relationships that are permanent, men fall in love quite easily, and men typically they want to solidify these relationships for good. Okay, they're ready to make that long-term commitment for good. Women tend to think opposite of that, and I just think that's only due to the fact that they've been in a lot of bad relationships, and that's just due to the fact that most men and women don't really know how to conduct a relationship properly. They think that everything is about sensationalism, stimulations, symbolism, status, all of the little silly stuff that get people caught up. And then when the relationship goes south, predictably, even if it's a serial dating type of thing, I've seen and heard of many women who've gotten into relationships and they've been in these serial relationships for 8, 9, 10, 15 years. Guy never put a ring on it. If he did, he never gave a date. But I don't ever blame the guy because, all of this is by consent. If you're allowing it, why, obviously you're getting something from it. You're not getting ultimately what you want, but you think this is something that is worthy of maintaining that to me, that flawed relationship. So back to Kimber and Brent. Long story short, with those 2 guys, from what I noticed, is that Brent couldn't make a decision in terms of being. I think he needed to be a little bit more transparent without the edge. He had a little bit edge on him because I could sense that he doesn't feel comfortable sharing what he really wants. I think he was interested in her, and I think there was chemistry. Like that means something, but there was chemistry, but I don't think it was serious enough for him to say, well, I'm actually interested in making a real connection with this woman, because he said that he didn't mind having children, but he wasn't clear on when he was willing to have children. I personally don't believe that. He's 41 years old. As far as I can understand, as far as I could tell, he didn't mention it. but I'm assuming he doesn't have any children. He's 41. He has no children. He was married before. So I don't think he has an issue with that. I think he's open to partnership, but I just don't think he is open enough to be able to allow someone in. I think he has some walls, he has some issues that he hasn't been able to deal with. Now that's with those two, but Kimber's no longer in the picture. You know, Kimber is just like any other female. She wants to make a connection. She wants to have a family. And I get that. I have no problem with that. She's almost 40 herself. So you would think that that would be something he would have strived for, but she's off. She's basically off the reservation now. Now London and Divine and London and Alexis. Now that's a whole nother horse of a different color from what I'm saying. Now London has spent a lot of time with Divine and you know, I'm not really confident in the behavior Divine has been exhibiting with London, because London hasn't really been reciprocating the way I think he ought to, because I really believe his heart is with Alexis. I really believe that. I would say the same thing with Alexis. Alexis, I think, really wants to really have the kind. I think she wants a relationship with London, but I don't like the idea that, you know, these guys are waffling back and forth. I think by now, you know, once you hit a certain age, you know, 35, 40, at least 40, I'm thinking that's that's the sweet spot. You know, once you hit 40, you should have some idea what you like, what you want, based upon your own personal history, based upon all the relationships you've had. You should at least know what you don't want. And it's really, I don't want to say upsetting, but it's really fundamental for me to listen to these guys almost make excuses and sound so indecisive. It's almost irritating, because I know they know what they want, you know. But you have to kind of stop thinking like a narcissist, because sometimes I think when guys have more than one choice and have all these choices, they start dealing with this issue of, you know, wondering, well, what would it be like with Reva? What would it be like with Alexis? What would, you know? You can't have but one woman at a time. It just can't. It's not possible. You can't love but one woman at a time. Very difficult to do. All right, that's another issue that I find. All right, Mario and Reva and Tandy. It looks or appears that Mario is really focused on Tandy. You know, she's a Detroit girl, just like, you know, I'm from Detroit. She's from Detroit. And it means she's got a little edge on her. And, you know, I'm a little familiar with, you know, big city girls, New York, Philadelphia, New Jersey, Detroit, Cleveland, all these big cities. A lot of those girls have a lot of edge on them for a lot of different reasons. And if you're willing to deal with all of the issues that come with some of them, not all, then, you know, you get ready. But I hope and pray that, you know, he makes a good decision. Reva, she wants her own. I get that, but she does have some serious walls, and I understand her neuroticism. I get it. She's trying to be cautious. I get that, and she wants him to fight for her. She wants to know that she knows that he really wants her, and I get all of that. So I just think I think she needs to let him, I think she needs to give him a sense of reassurance that he is someone that she really wants. And I don't think she's sending that message. And so that might not turn out too well. And I'd say the last guy, Carrie and Brent, and then you have Ashima. Ashima and Darren, I'm sorry, not just Carrie and Brent, because I just dealt with Brent, but Carrie and Darren and Ashima have been together from day one, and they seem to have really made a great connection. But I'm finding out, looking at what's coming up next week, that I might have got that all wrong. He might be, checking somebody else out. But the fact that he made a big deal about his dogs, and the fact that she doesn't like dogs, it says to me that, they're not really talking like they need to be talking. I mean, these are some things that she should have known about by now. I don't think it should have been something sort of was a matter of fact type of conversation. Now she's just finding out. And the same thing goes for him, They should be really getting to know one another in a more intimate level. They seem to be doing a lot of kissy, huggy. All that's cool, but again, it's the things like the dogs that doesn't seem like a major issue. That could easily become a major issue. So, with that being said, if there's some issues with the dogs, I'm sure there's going to be some issues like with her child and how her boundaries and how her value system has been inculcated into her child, and the same goes for his child. So there's going to be some issues that they need to come to some consensus on, and I don't think they're doing a great job, because we're going to find out next week that Darren is got interest in someone else. So all that being said, is from what I saw with the families and the friends, is that they were asking some really great questions, especially when I saw Mario go through the Inquisition with Eva's friends, and they were asking a lot of great questions, as well as Tandy's friends. I like the fact that they have that advocacy group, those friends, because they kind of know you very well, and they're asking questions that you would never ask. So it's good to see how these men are responding, and sadly, most, if not all of them, not every one of them, but most of them are not giving very clear answers. They're giving generic answers. They're giving, answers that you pull right out of a hat, or right out of a can, or right out of a box. They're not genuine. They're not transparent. And the men are not being clear about what their objectives are and what their total desires are for the individual women. And so to me, those are red flags. But the point here and the takeaway is that it's always good to make sure that you have people who really care about you, who love you, who have an opportunity to take a look at the individual and ask some real hard questions, and let these individuals see where they stand, so you can see where they really stand. Because you're not asking the questions, or you may not be asking the questions the right way, so that you can, in a sense, sit back and listen and hear that individual's answers. That's male or female. So again, the main thing here is the main thing. Just make sure that in your relationships, make sure that you take your time. Don't get so caught up on the substance, the symbolism, and the sensationalism. You want to get caught up in the areas that really matter. As I mentioned earlier, I was mistaken when I said don't get caught up on the substance. That's what you want to look at. You want to look at the substance. I meant symbolism. And what you really want to do is don't get so into the chemistry. Chemistry is okay, but it's not everything. That's my time. I thank you for yours. Catch you on the other side. God bless you.